Becca here, and today I am going to be sewing up the Cozy Footies from Lowland Kids, and this is a relatively simple pattern and relatively quick. It's really just the mastering the curve on the foot, but other than that, it's relatively simple, but I'm going to be walking you through the steps of the pieces that you'll need and some little tips on how to master that curve. But I will link this pattern down below if you don't have it. And I'm also using a cotton spandex from Raspberry Creeks, which I will also put in the description down below if you want to grab it. It's available. It's one of their prints. It's really cute. There's other ones that match it. And then I'm going to be using a solid cotton spandex from them as well for the bottom of the foot. And the one thing I will say, if you are doing these for older kids, you want to be careful with what you put on the bottom of that foot, because it will be slippery, so you may need to get some grippies or other things for the bottom of that foot. But for little kids or non-walkers, cotton spandex or whatever you're using will work great. And I will be doing the fold over waistband, which kind of the same thing is I love for the babies and the younger kids with their big bellies that aren't super active, but it won't squeeze into them. And kind of as they get older, a lot of times the elastic waistband helps it stay in place a little bit better. But it's kind of just personal preference. But I will be doing the fold over waistband in this tutorial, but if you are doing the elastic, you can still follow these steps, and then you will just continue on to the elastic waistband instead of the fold over waistband when I get to that step. So let's get started. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut out my pattern pieces. So we'll go ahead and do that. I got all of my pieces cut out, so I'm just going to go over the pieces that we have that we're going to need. And so I am doing the fold over waistband. So if you are not doing the fold over waistband, you will not have the waistband, but everything else will be the same. And I should have mentioned this before, but there was a line on your pattern piece for the pant leg, and if you are doing the fold over waistband, you're going to cut at the lower line, and if you are doing the elastic waistband, you're just going to cut at the higher waistline because you will fold it over. So I have my leg pieces here, and they're opposites or mirrored images, which means that when you lay them out like this, they are not the same because we need a left leg and a right leg. So we have both of those leg pieces. We have our back gusset waistband if you're doing the fold over waistband, and then the top of my feet. And I like to do sometimes the bottoms a solid color, so that's just I have the bottoms of my feet. And when I cut out my feet, this isn't on the pattern piece, but there is a little mark for the center of the front of the foot, and I like to just add a little notch on there. You can see I kind of pointed up just for me so that it's easier, that when I go to sew I can match those up nice and easy. First thing we're going to do is we are just going to need our leg pieces and our gusset, so we can set our other pieces aside for now. And so what we're going to do is going to lay out our leg pieces, and when you have them flat like this higher end on the waist is your back. So this is your front and this is your back. So the gusset goes along the back seam. So what we're going to do is first I'm going to do both sides here. So we're going to take our gusset with right sides together. I'm sorry. Going to line up that top piece, and we're going to pin or clip that along there, matching up both of those corners like so. You may need to ease it in just a little bit there, but you want those corners on your ends to be matching up. So then I'm going to open this up, and we're going to do the same thing to this leg piece. So I'm going to just fold this one over, again, right sides together, matching up that top corner there. I'm going to clip it. And I sometimes like to just clip my ends first and then work into the middle. All right, so we flip it over like this. both of these clips, so now we're just going to go over and stitch. I'm going to go right along this side here and this side here, and I'll be right back. Okay, and so once you have those sewn, it's going to look like this when it's laid flat. And I am sewing on my serger. You can do this on a sewing machine with a stretch stitch, but no matter what, you're going to be sewing with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. But so once you have that gusset sewn in to both leg pieces, we are going to sew our front crotch seam. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fold this in half here. Again, match right sides together. I'm going to match up that top at the waist. Sorry. Then I'm going to match up this point here. Pin or clip that. And then I'm just going to go here. I'm going to sew from my waist and down to here, and I'll be right back. This seam sewn. So now what we're going to do is we're going to open them up so that they are looking like pants. And now the next thing we're going to do is our inseam. So I'm going to line up my bottom seams here of each leg, and then I'm going to line up my crotch seams, and then, or sorry, there's not a seam in the back. We're going to go to the middle of our gusset and match up that front seam there. So here's the back view of that, and then you can add a few more clips if you would like along there. But what we're just going to do now is we're going to start down here and sew all the way around to the other end. Once you sew that inseam there, you should have now what looks like pants. So what we're going to do next is we're going to turn our item right side out, and I'm doing a 3-month, so this is pretty small just for reference. I'm going to turn them right side out, and then I'm going to take one of my top footies here, and what you're going to do is you want to match up this curve and pin. Can't use too many pins or clips here because it's pretty small. I like to just match up kind of like the others, those ends there, and then you're going to do that on both sides, and you're just going to go over and sew this seam there. You just want to be careful on that curve and make sure you are getting that fabric all the way around. So you will do that, and we'll do that same thing on this leg. Once you get those sewn on, it's going to look like this. And I will say, when you sew this on, I like to put the footy top down and then the pant leg on the top. I think it's easier to feed it through my machine that way, and just go slow and just do a few stitches at a time for that. And so this next thing now, we are going to attach the bottoms of our footies. So we are going to turn our pants back to inside out. And what we're going to do first is we are going to, with right sides together, I'm going to match up the center points for me, those notches I made. So I'm going to match those up here. And then keeping it right sides together so that it lays nice and flat, I'm going to find that center back in the center of my leg piece there, and I'm going to put another pin clip in there, and then just kind of continue to clip that on around your foot. Excuse me. And then you're going to do that on both sides, lining up those raw edges. And you're going to do both feet. And when you go to sew this, some things that help, I will show my stitching on this one, but some things that help are to make your stitch length shorter. So you want to decrease your stitch length, because that's going to help you have, it's not going to feed through as fast when you're going around those curves, to go slow. And you may have to pick up and put down your presser foot a couple times, rotating your fabric in that seam. The other thing you can do if you're worried about it is you can just go to a regular sewing machine and put in a basting stitch to do before you actually attach it on, just to make sure you have it. But really it's not that hard. You just want to make sure that as you're doing it, you are keeping those raw edges lined up and everything together, and you're not going off the edge. I'm over here at my machine, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to shorten my stitch length to about a 2 for this. Maybe a little bit longer than a 2, but I typically am at like a 3.3, somewhere in between there for my stitch length. And then I'm just going to, I like to start kind of on the side here. It's just the easiest place for these. And I'm just going to go real slow. You might have to stretch it a little bit as you feed it through there. So I'm kind of pulling on it, forcing it to feed around. And if you need to, you may have to lift up a little bit and rotate, especially right on those sharp curves. Also, lifting up the presser foot too helps because it just releases that fabric from the back, so you don't have to pull it as much, and it just kind of helps it rotate a little bit. So I got that sewn on there nice and done, so now I will just go ahead and do the other side. Alright, so I got those footies sewn on. They're super cute. And so now, if you are doing the fold over waistband, you will continue with me. If you are doing the elastic, which you're just going to take your elastic and you will sew it on. I do have another video that shows how to sew a fold over elastic waistband that I will link in the description if you need that. But if you are doing the waistband, you can continue on with me. So what we're going to do with the waistband, so this waistband is extra wide because it is a fold over waistband. So sometimes it's easy to get confused on which way to fold it. So here is my waistband. My stretch is going this way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold it in half this way here. And I'm going to line up my raw edge here. And I'm going to just pin along here and sew up this side seam right there, and I will be so I got that sewn up on my waistband. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take it and fold it wrong sides together, matching up those seams there and folding it around. And here I'm just going to, since I have it now, I'm going to quarter it. So I'm going to find my halfway point here. And I was a little bit short on fabric. You can see here that I did go into my selvage a little bit, which is fine because I'm going to just make sure that that is on the inside of the waistband and it won't be seen. Just an easy fix there. But so then I'm going to match up those center points here and add a pin or clip into there. And so now I'm going to take my pants, and I like to have my seam of my waistband in the middle of back of my waistband. If you like to do it a different way, some people like it on the side, it's totally up to you. But so I'm going to find my center of my back gusset here, and I'm going to match up that waistband, and I need to flip this over to hide that selvage. And just make sure if you this is not a directional print, but if you have a directional print that you are making sure when you put it in that it is going to face the right way, because you don't want to get it sewn on and then have it upside down. So you can just use my front seam here for the front half. That's nice and easy. And then for my side seams, I will match those up here and clip that on there. And now your waistband, this one isn't extremely a different size compared to the pants, but you will need to stretch it slightly as you attach it. You just will go and sew all the way around, and I will be right back. All right, so once you get that waistband sewn on, you are done, and these turn out so cute. And as I was saying, you can see how tall this waistband is, so it's meant to fold over like this. Super cute. That's super comfy and cozy on little babies, their tummies, their big chunky tummies. There's nothing digging in, but super cute. And you can see the solids on the bottom, which is just a little fun addition. But this, like I said earlier before we started, that this is a relatively simple pattern. It's just really mastering getting those curves on the footies. But other than that, this is a really quick, easy spun sew, and I love it for babies, for baby shower gifts, or anything like that. But if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. If you make them and sew them up, make sure you tag me on Instagram at sewbex and like this video, and then subscribe so that you can be notified of any future videos. Bye! Have a great day!